you so far that these people are going to vote for Alan Martin. 1, Abena Osasai, Patrick Boama. 2, John Peter Mewu. 3, they are all going to vote for Alan Martin. Carlos Ahikra is going to vote for Alan Martin. So I'm showing you that Alan Martin votes, okay? Carlos was deputy to Alan at Trade Minister. At Trade, he liked the work Alan did. He's very enamored of Alan Martin. I believe that he's going to vote for him. We may be wrong, it's subjective, but this is the reason why we're saying Carlos in particular will vote for Alan. Okay, let's move on. Subi constituency is Eugene Entry, my friend Eugene Entry. Well, Eugene's one is a 50-50. Well, it's a 60-40, I have to say. 60% of the research indicates to us that Eugene Entry is going to vote for Alan Martin. 40% of the research is telling us that Eugene is changing. And we are not sure how he's going to do. But where is he changing towards? They think he's changing towards Dr. Bawumia. So 40% Dr. Bawumia, 60% Alan Martin, Eugene Entry, MP for Subi. Okay, let's move on. Ikopon constituency, Eastern region, Mamedo Kuya is, we believe, going to vote for Alan Martin as well. And then you have Asokwa constituency MP, Patricia Apieje, our mother, Patricia Apieje from Asokwa, is also going to vote for Alan Martin. Mind you, we are dealing with 137, and we are isolating those that we think, from our research, will surely go for Alan Martin. Okay, so that's Patricia Apieje. In Price constituency MP, Eastern region, we think he will also vote for Alan Martin. Okay, let's move on. And then we have Lambusi constituency, Upper West region, Bright Baki Yelvi Baliji. We believe that he will also vote for Alan Martin. Okay, you may hear tomorrow them saying that, what did Paul Ademochi say? My vote is secret. I've not decided what you may hear all of those things coming up. But we know what we have seen, and we are guessing that they will vote for Alan Martin. Of course, English man, for he comes on Good Morning Ghana all the time. I watch him in the morning on Good Morning Ghana. He talks for Alan Martin. So on the basis of that, we know that 100% his vote is for Alan. Okay. Then we have Cynthia Morrison, Central Region, Aguna West constituency. We suspect that he will also vote for Alan Martin. All right. Then we have Anyaso Utom constituency, Greater Accra. We suspect that he will also vote for Alan Martin. And then Takwa Nswayim MP, Western Region. This is Deputy Minister of Lands, Mreku Duka. We believe that he will also vote for Alan Martin. Okay. Then we have Alexander Fenyo Markin. That's the interesting bit. So our research on Alexander Fenyo Markin told us that Alexander Fenyo Markin is an establishment boy, no doubt about it. He's very close relations with the center, with Jubilee, very, very close relations with Dr. Bawumia and all that. But they're suggesting to us that, not that he thinks Kennedy Japan will win, no. Not that he wants Kennedy Japan to be presidential candidate as such, maybe no. But he has this tie with Kennedy Japan that people think it will be really incongruous if Fenyo Markin's one single vote out of 137, that he will not give it to Kennedy Japan, even though everybody knows where his. So as Fenyo Markin is, the suspicion is that his mind is different from his heart. And I don't know where the mind is and where the heart is, but it's a 50-50 between Kennedy Japan and Dr. Bawumia. That's what we are finding out for Alexander Fenyo Markin. Is that not interesting? That sounds like very, very interesting. At 25 minutes at the top of that, at 10 o'clock, that's what is happening. And then Kennedy Japan himself will vote for Kennedy Japan. We know that already. He's a member of parliament, so he'll vote for Kennedy Japan. Is there any other one? This is Abura Asebu Kwaman constituency in the central region. We think that he will also vote for Kennedy Japan. That's what we are picking up, and we're dealing with 137 members of parliament. And then also Tano North constituency. This is the lady who is now a sanitation. This is Frida Prempe. Oh, I needed the names, so the names are not here. I need the names. Frida Prempe will also vote for, well, I was going to do this analysis last Thursday, and then I have Frida Prempe clearly going towards, is it Kennedy Japan, I think. But having been made Minister for Sanitation right now, people are suggesting to us that she just might change and go along with what people are saying in Parliament. Most of the 137, we understand, are going to vote for Dr. Bawumia anyway. Most of the 137 MPs are going to vote for Dr. Bawumia, except these 13 or 14 that we're isolating, that our research is telling us that they may not vote for Dr. Bawumia. Now, it is good for the MPP in terms of the diversity. And people have talked about how there is a lot of finger pointing, and punishment for people who sort of go away from the center. It looks like the MPP center and the MPP soul is thinking Dr. Bawumia at least has a philosophy that is being shared by some of their elders. But those who do not support Dr. Bawumia are going about their work. Now, if you go all the way to the front, where you have a Deputy Minister of Finance, Abena Osasare, who is a Deputy Minister of Finance. She was with Ken Ofori-Atta at the budget presentation the other day. But she also attended the work for Alanche Martin. I believe that for people in the MPP, they shouldn't see that as a negative. That's a big plus, really. It shows the diversity in the party. Nobody's harassing anybody. And when I was talking about this, somebody told me that, oh, you should have been at Peduasi the other day. President Akufo-Addo was teasing John Peter Amewu. And he said, JP, you are here. You are supporting Alanche Martin. Has anybody done anything to you? And I heard Mr. was laughing and said, Mr. President, no. And I hear JP told Mr. President, you also have to come on board and support Alanche Martin because he's going to win. Apparently, that erupted a lot of laughter at Peduasi and everybody was laughing. And the president said, no problem. You have more convincing to do for me and your colleagues. But JP is Alanche Martin, sits in the cabinet. There's no problem. The president points out to him, he points back to the president that you should support our campaign. And everybody is laughing. That's a spirit of diversity. And that's working. Look at Alexander Afenyo-Markin. He has a relationship with Kennedy Japan. He's not going to diss Kennedy Japan. I mean, maybe he will not. But there are 137 votes up for grabs. If he decides to show his loyalty by selecting Kennedy Japan for the process, that he's done his loyalty to his friend. So I like that, but not everyone likes that. But I like that. I think that is creating diversity. If all our political parties should allow people to have a freedom of expression within internal party politics, it's not a problem. If I think that I'm in the party and I think Alanche Martin will win or he should be the elected candidate, it shouldn't mean that the president should not make me a minister. That is why people know that Frida Prempeh is not on the Bawumia bandwagon, and I'm sure people went to the president when he was appointing her as sanitation minister and said that, but why you're appointing her is not a Bawumia person. Mr. President must have said, that's not the point. That's not the point. I mean, she can do the work, so put her there. John Peter Amewu is Minister for Railways. Nobody has sacked him. You know, people thought that, oh, once you show your face for another candidate, they'll sack you. I have to credit Akufo-Addo for that kind of tolerance. Often people say many things about Akufo-Addo, but you have to credit him for that kind of tolerance. Whereas he has announced that he's not supporting any candidate, he is not looking for anybody to punish because he supports one candidate or the other. Kennedy Japan is a parliament. He still goes for meetings and all of that. So this is our take. It's quite interesting and quite controversial, isn't it? Yeah, this Frida Prempeh I was talking to you about. Now, here's Akwesi Akwa as well. Akwesi Akwa too, they said to us that Akwesi Akwa is the honorable member of parliament for Akimoda. But those of you who remember Akwesi Akwa, he was the eternal producer of Kwame Sefakai's Kokroko on Peace FM's morning show. That's Akwesi Akwa. He produced, Sefakai made him quite popular because every morning he would say, Akwesi, now where went? Akwesi Akwa, where went? And all of that. And everybody got to know him. But he's a very diligent, very, very hard-working guy. And I'm sure that Peace FM missed him when he left the production of Kokroko. And now he's a member of parliament for Akimoda. There are suspicions on whether he stands with Dr. Bawumia or he stands with Alanche Martin or he stands with Kennedy Japan. It's not quite clear. So that's why we put him here. We don't know where he's going to go. Maybe if I call Sefakai tomorrow and say that, Akwesi Akwa, your man, where is he voting? He might tell me. But this is the story of the MPP event occurring on the 6th of August. And then there's Joe Gate, who is also one of the 137 members of parliament, whose votes is going to himself. Joseph Gate, the former Attorney General and Railway Minister, will be voting for himself. So he's one of those votes that you cannot count in the Bawumia vote. So there's 137 votes up for grabs in Parliament among the 800 and something. And we are telling you that not all the 137 are going the same way. And we are showing you what we think are the differences that we can talk about now. There may be more differences occurring before the 26th. There may be less. The lobbying is still going on. The campaigning is still going on. People are talking to people. So you may find that some things will change. But this one is not going to change. Joe Gate will vote for Joe Gate. He's a member of parliament for Sikado constituency. Very good friend of mine, Uncle Joe. If I had a vote, maybe I'll think about him. But Joe Gate is voting for Joe Gate. Kennedy Japan is voting for Kennedy Japan in parliament. Apart from that, I've given you the list. Patricia PJ and others, they are voting for Alan. Some people are voting for Kennedy. But if you take all those 15 out and you subtract the 15 from the 137, our notes is beginning to indicate that majority of the members of parliament outside the names that we have mentioned are going to be voting for Dr. Bawumia on the 26th of August, wherever they may be. I don't know whether they will vote at headquarters or they will vote in some region or the other region. The other group of voters are the ministers, and I'm going to take them now. Okay, So we begin with Ken Ofori-Atta, the Minister for Finance and Economic Planning. Now, this is the door through which Dr. Bawumia became the running mate in 2008. And that under any circumstances, Ken will cast his votes for Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia. Okay. This is our foreign minister, Ayako Boche, who has been in the news recently for good things. He's been at the passport office and trying to fix it and make it happen and make it work and all of that. We believe that Shirley Ayako Boche will vote for Dr. Bawumia. This is Defense Minister, my good friend Dominic Nitiwul, who has been holding the defense quite tight for the last 6 years or so. He's been very quiet, and it appears he's been very effective. The development in Burma Camp show, you go to Burma Camp and they are building, they bought new equipment for the military. In fact, in his tenure, he's done significant buying so many equipment for the military. And from what we hear in Burma Camp, they are very excited about him. We believe that his vote is going to Dr. Bawumia. Okay, this is Godfred Yeboah-Dame, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice. We think that Dr. Godfred Dame will vote for Dr. Bawumia. And then this is Katie Hammond. Now, my friend Tahiru, very interested man, you know that already. Katie Hammond is the Minister for Trade. Now, Katie Hammond is an Adisco boy, and he's very close to Brian Achampong. Many people don't know that. Brian Achampong and Katie Hammond are very close. We suspect that given his background, even though he's from Adisadel with Alanche Martin, we think that Katie Hammond will vote for Dr. Bawumia. Okay. My minister, Koko Ofori-Atta is voting for Dr. Bawumia. If he had 3 votes, he will give all to Dr. Bawumia. If Koko Ofori-Atta had 5 votes, he will vote Bawumia. Because I've spoken to him and he's told me, and people know that about him already. Now, he is also very close friends with Kennedy Japan. Everybody knows that. They are very, very tight. They've been tight since a long time. They are very close. But people who know him also know that in spite of his relationship with Kennedy Japan, he thinks that for the party to win, it should be Dr. Bawumia, and he's going to elect Dr. Bawumia. Okay. Minister for Roads, Kwesi Amoah-Akwanta, I think he's already said it in some places. He said it somewhere, that he's going to also vote for Dr. Bawumia. So now I'm going through the ministerial list. Hey, Hawa Kumsin is a brutal Bawumia supporter. Total one. She's like a Bawumia fundamentalist. Those who know that. I mean, he's even had classes with Kennedy Japan, verbal classes with Kennedy Japan over the vote and all that. She has a vote in the super delegates, and no doubt, 100%, Hawa Kumsin is going to vote for Dr. Bawumia. This is Ambrose Derry, the Minister for Interior, and we also believe that Ambrose Derry, in every circumstance, is going to elect Dr. Bawumia. And then you have Brian Achampong, the main man. Brian Achampong is the big man over here. People have even talked about Brian Achampong as being a potential running mate to Dr. Bawumia. That Brian commands a lot in the eastern region. He's forceful, he's youthful, he has a lot of exuberance and a lot of energy. You saw the walk that they did in the Kwao place. Brian has a lot of energy, and people believe that Brian is going to elect Dr. Bawumia. Okay. Of course, Minister for Energy, former Minister for Education, Napo. He's also been talked about as a potential running mate to Dr. Bawumia. He's been talked about that if Dr. Bawumia is the candidate, then MPP must pick a running mate from Ashanti. And if you pick a running mate from Ashanti, you must pick a younger person. You don't want somebody who's older than Dr. Bawumia, because the MPP needs to signal to the Ghanaian people that we are going youth. And if you're looking for somebody who is a mobilizer, who can generate resources and can generate people and can engage with people, it is Matthew Opoku Prempeh. They call him Napo. He comes from the heart of Mensah. His father was a big Mensah person. He's a chief. And he also says to me that every Asantehene is his grandfather. And so he's in the heart of the Ashanti or Yoko tradition. Therefore, if Dr. Bawumia is looking for an Ashanti running mate to bolster the chances of the MPP winning again and to secure 75% of Ashanti votes, you need to look at Matthew Opoku Prempeh. That's what they say. And so Opoku Prempeh's vote, 100% Bawumia. Okay. Yes, another instance. Opoku Prempeh's former deputy, the fantastic Dr. Osei Aduchum, one of the most intelligent ministers that you can get. I mean, one of the most intelligent ministers you can get. In Kenya, they celebrate him like nobody's business. In Uganda, they celebrate him like nobody's business. And they celebrate him for the same reasons that we celebrate him in Ghana. His understanding and perception about education, and what education should look like, and what education shouldn't look like. Dr. Osei Aduchum appears to understand that clearly. Now, he's lived it, because in his life, he's a teacher. He has built a school for his community, Osei Aduchum Senior High School. And so people think that if the MPP is touting education as one of their strong points, that Dr. Bawumia must be picking a running mate who exemplifies that, who sort of amplifies the MPP education policy. And that person should be Osei Aduchum. But Osei Aduchum's vote for the 26th of August, 1,000% Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia. Okay, Samuel Abu Jinapor is one of Akufo-Addo's children, if you sort of understand what I mean. And Sami has come through the ranks from the communication, from the Kumasi KNUST. He's called to the bar as a lawyer. He worked with Justice Kulendi, if you have to know that as well. Abu used to work in Justice Kulendi's law firm until the NPP came to power in 2016, and he became a deputy chief of staff with President Akufo-Addo. He's one of Akufo-Addo's children. Very, very close relations with the president, particularly close with the president. And to all intents and purposes, Samuel Abu Jinapor is electing Dr. Bawumia. Okay, Chairman Sabunsu is also been talked about as one of this Minister for Parliamentary Affairs. It's been talked about as one of the potential running mates if Dr. Bawumia is to pick from Ashanti. Chairman Sabunsu has demonstrated a very intense relationship with the UP tradition. I go to Parliament and they tell me that if you're looking for those who hold the UP tradition dear to their heart, those who are UP fundamentalists, almost NLM, that's Chairman Sabunsu. He's a UP blue blood through and through. He understands the UP history, he understands the UP philosophy. He's one of those who's been groomed by Kwame Donkofojo, Apia Minka, and all the big Kumasi names, J. Kufuor, and all of that, Kwame Adokofo, and these are his mentors. All his mentors are proper UP people, so he understands the UP tradition. He's built a huge parliamentary profile for himself. From minority leader to majority leader, he's been in parliament, he's worked it out, he understands it. Some people also think that if the NPP were to win, he'll be a good person to be a speaker of parliament, because not many people understand the Fourth Republican Parliament better than Chairman Sabunsu. Not many people understand the standing orders of parliament better than Chairman Sabunsu. Not many people understand the intricacies of parliament better than Chairman Sabunsu. And so Chairman Sabunsu is parliament, and parliament is Chairman Sabunsu. If Dr. Bawumia wants a party person from the heart of Ashanti, he's member of parliament for Swami. I believe so. He's a member of parliament for Swami. Then Dr. Bawumia should be going for him as a running mate. But that's the jury is still out on that. But we can say that his vote as a Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, he has two votes. He has a vote as a Member of Parliament, and he has a vote as a Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. The rules suggest that you can vote once, even if you have 4 votes. Some people may have 4 votes. Somebody is National Council member, he's a Minister, he's a Member of Parliament. That gives him 3 votes. But you have to elect to vote once. So he will be voting once, and we think that he's voting Dr. Bawumia. This is Kwekwa Ajimamenu, the Minister for Health. He also has a vote. To all intents and purposes, the BA man is voting Dr. Bawumia. Kojo Ponkroma has already endorsed Dr. Bawumia, big time. And so we know that he's voting Dr. Bawumia. As Information Minister, Kojo has been a repository of a lot of wisdom. He's spoken so well. These days I see NDC people writing and say that, where is the Information Minister? Where is it? Then you go and check his Facebook page and he says that, keep the work going and focus. Keep the work going and focus. When Kojo hasn't spoken for a long time, then we know that the day he speaks, he's going to drop many things. So he's waited for the media budget is gone. I'm sure he's waiting for a few developmental marks to occur after the mini congress and all of that. He will grant a big interview, and there we will hear why he has been quiet for 4 months. And as he says, keep the work going and focus. Kojo Ponkroma is going to elect Dr. Bawumia. All right. And then you have, Peter Mewu is a minister. I already talked about Peter Mewu as a member of parliament. But now he's a minister. So Peter Mewu has 2 votes as well. He cannot cast both votes for Alan. He has to cast one. He has to tell the party office whether he's casting his vote as member of parliament or he's casting his vote as minister. I guess that he'll cast his vote as minister. And that vote is going to Alan Chemartin. John Peter Mewu is going to elect Alan Chemartin. People say that he may be Alan Chemartin's running mate. If Alan Chemartin were to win the contest, John Peter Mewu could be his running mate over there. They couldn't give me the name, so I don't know this minister. Can they tell me very quickly? Minister for Gender. Oh, okay. Minister for Gender. Minister for Gender, we are not sure where he will vote, but we suspect that she would also vote for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. So these are your key ministers, and of course, these are the regions. Now, in the regional analysis, there's going to be results coming out to show who won in which region. That's the kind of results that's going to come out. And it would appear that if you pick the regions, let's begin from the top. Upper West and Upper East, Dr. Bawumia will pick up both, we think. The 3 northern regions, Dr. Bawumia will win in all the 3 northern regions. BA and Ahafo North and all that, we suspect he'll win. Ashanti is the critical factor. Now, if Dr. Bawumia were to win in Ashanti, that would be very significant because he is the candidate who doesn't come from Ashanti. In the 10, there's Usu Akoto is from Ashanti, Kwabena Agyapong is from Ashanti, Alancha Martin is from Ashanti, Opoku is from Ashanti. Who else? Boakye Agyapong is Eastern region. But there are many Ashantis in the saddle. Now, if all the Ashantis in the saddle are not, neither of them is able to pick Ashanti, and Dr. Bawumia wins Ashanti, that would be significant. We think that's what may happen anyway. And then there's Volta region to look out for. That's going to be very significant. John Peter Amewu is the only member of parliament from Volta region. It's expected that he'll be able to marshal the votes for Alancha Martin in the Volta region. So will Alancha Martin win the Volta region? I don't know. But let's see how it goes. But it's a task for Peter Amewu to deliver. Peter Amewu, as an Alan supporter, must be able to deliver the Volta region for Alancha Martin. If he's not able to secure the Volta region for Alancha Martin, that will be problematic. Okay, Greater Accra region is going to be a free-for-all, but we think that give and take, all things being equal, with the work that people like Arena Toshi are doing, Dr. Bawumia should win the Greater Accra region. There's also Central region where Kennedy Agyapong is expected to show up very strongly. He's a member of parliament from Central region. Alancha Martin also has great Central region roots. So we think it's going to be a battle between Dr. Bawumia, Alancha Martin, Kennedy Agyapong in the Central region. We are not sure what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, the news will be reported in who won the regions. And I guess that many of the contestants don't want that story that will say that Dr. Bawumia won in every region because this is super delegates and they wanted the super delegates to vote in the same place so that we can have one action, and we don't have a result that is regional based, but now we're going to have a result that's regional based, and some of them are concerned that if you go and signal or give an indication that one person won in all 16 regions, then you are giving the person a head start. So we'll see how that goes, but this is the regional map of Ghana, and this is how it looks like it's going to turn out. So that's our first story for today, and we're already arriving at 10 o'clock. Okay, so we will take our break now. When we come back, we will be doing the big story. Cecilia Dapaah, Victoria Bath, and are tackling Kwesi Chum, the founder of the multimedia group. We also have a local government story, and then we have the Niger story as well. It's already beginning to pile up. 6 minutes to the top of there. So let's get the text messages on this one ready whilst we take the commercial break. Can we at this time? All right, we take the break right now.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
My name is John, and this is my long-time crush, my cookie dipped in strawberry yogurt. On this scorching hot afternoon on our way back from a long job hunt, we met this good Samaritan who offered us food.
6 weeks later,
a special wedding reception for our bride and groom.
And there she is, my cookie, dipped in someone else's yogurt.
Who holds the moolah, holds the shot. Play game by games, the easiest lottery to play and win. Big phone numbers from 0 to 9 up to 3 times daily to become one of our daily lucky winners. Dial *946# to play now, or you can also play online at www.gamepackgames.com. Game Park is regulated by the National Lottery Authority.
JA Plant Food Ghana Limited has introduced the all-new Jetto X70 Plus to the market. Jetto X70 Plus is a modern, spacious family SUV with a stylish design, advanced technology, and outstanding quality that promises you luxury with affordability. Jetto X70 Plus comes with an exceptional engine warranty of 4 years or 100,000 kilometers, giving you the ultimate peace of mind for years to come. And our dedicated service center at J Plant Pool offers you a wide range of car services and world-class customer support. Be exclusive and outstanding. Get yourself the all-new Jetto X70 Plus. Get in touch with J Plant Pool Ghana Limited on 020-0000-831 or info@jplantpoolgh.com. Visit jplantpoolgh.com for more information.
Betway is your gateway to a theme park full of gaming excitement. A whirlpool of wonder where your favorite games come to life. Where you can take to the skies with max payouts that reach into the millions. All in the palm of your hand. Visit betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Bet your way.
Sometimes the unexpected happens and the hero falls down in his own story. But he needs not stay down for long. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance is your trusted health partner. Whether an individual building a business, with Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern. For the best health insurance solutions for corporate institutions, groups and associations, families and individuals, choose Cosmopolitan Health Insurance from our over 700 accredited health service providers nationwide. Call us on 0302 540 668 or 0501 678 547 for all your health insurance solutions. Cosmopolitan Health Insurance, your medical care is our concern.
My son, there's more blessing in giving than receiving. When you fear for you and cover the makers in
the pneumatological aberration of the Lord revealed unto me this night that me and my household should go out into the world and bless the world.
Makers Electronics Company Limited, up to 67% discount. Our selected appliances.
This is what I call quintessential immaculatability.
The Makers Electronics Company Limited. Taifa Burkina Highway, Amasama Zongo Junction, at the K Pharmacy Dining, or Yer Fateman Boga Junction, Ashaman Valco Flat, Kumasi, Ahinema Kokobin, Asafuwachi Hospital Junction. Number 9 Market.
Mom and Dad about the Makers Blessing Attack program
from 0552 222 253 and 0552 222 254. Terms and conditions apply.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thank you very much for your time. I'm getting so many text messages, and I have one from here. Let me just quickly read it as I get to the next ones. And he says that Honorable Hussein Issa says Katie is also very close with Kennedy Japan. Yeah, I know that they are Sadel. Good analysis on the MPs. All right. This is from George Kwatin Adenta. He says that Paul, I have followed the campaign well, and also followed Dr. Baumia in his tour. I have been to all 16 regions for the past 5 months, and I can confidently tell you that Dr. Baumia will win in all 16 regions. This is the golden opportunity for the MPP to break the 8, and they will never make any mistake. George Kwatin is writing to us from Adenta. Let me come then to you. Who is starting? Yes, Anastasia, what do you have?
Okay, thank you, Paul. So coming from Emmanuel Jermaine, he says MPP should vote according to who Ghanaians need, but not who MPP needs. Coming from Alaji Bob Sid, he said Paul, Assalamu alaikum and good evening to you and your viewers. We thank God it's another Tuesday because we are alive, healthy and connected worldwide watching Good Evening Ghana, the best evening program. May Allah protect you, Paul. Greetings to Old Tafo MP Ekwao Vincent. Coming from Baba Chairman Tamale says, come what may, DMB factor shall emerge victorious. My prayer, however, is for a peaceful superdelegate elections. Lastly, from Mahami Adams, he says, good evening, Paulus. Dr. Bawumia victory in the internal race is a foregone conclusion. We are happy and ready to vote for Dr. Bawumia, not because he is a Northerner or a Muslim, but because he is a competent personality at all standards. Dr. Bawumia is non-parallel. Yes, to you.
Okay, so we have a few proponents here. Philip Yabwa says, Ken all the way. Owusu AJ Kwame says Alan John Kojo Tremantin is winning Ashanti and Central Volta and Bono region. Wilberforce Kwajo Abuaje says Bawumia will win in Ashanti and it is possible. Dr. Bawumia is winning all the 16 regions, inshallah. Citizen Francis says all indicators point towards Vice President Bawumia securing victory in the imminent primaries. My confidence lies not only in his success at the Super Delegate Conference, but also in his convincing triumph at the National Delegate Conference scheduled for November 4th. This is a clear consensus that Dr. Bawumia is the preferred candidate within the party circles. Mahami Adams says Dr. Bawumia's stronghold is the Ashanti region. The signs are clear. You don't need a rocket science or voodoo message to tell. It is possible with Dr. Bawumia for 2024. The Minister for Gender is 100% DMB. She is related to Dr. Bawumia, I think. This is coming from Agnes Jivarvira. Nicholas Menu says, Paul, from your analysis, none of the ministers has given a reason why they would vote for Bawumia. It appears that somebody is pushing them to do something against their will. And lastly, Master Planner Junior watching us from Kintampo says, there is no doubt that Dr. Bawumia will win both the Special Delegate Congress and the November elections. But most importantly, 2024 general election will be historic because ex-President Mahama will taste his third defeat. Dr. Bawumia will break the 8. Greetings to lawyer Jerry Ahmed, incoming Wage Agbari MP. Fatih.
All right, thank you. This is coming from Said Abdul, and he says Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is the best choice for NPP. Coming from Alid Omar, he says, Paul, nothing can stop Bawumia from becoming the next NPP flag bearer. If possible, he will even be our next president of Ghana, inshallah. This is coming from Quason Aldorf. He says Dr. Bawumia will win convincingly, no doubt about it. Coming from Prince Opoku, says, Paul, for the super delegate, that's a stronghold. This is the order. Number 1, Bawumia is going to win. Second is Alan. Third is Kennedy Japan. Fourth is Osei Akwato. And fifth is Kwabena Japan. This coming from Charles Osei says Bawumia is the best bet. And Imoro Rashid says, good evening, Paul. You are the best in the game. So objective. Keep up the good work. DMB would certainly break the 8. Lastly, from Harrison Jemfi says the Special Delegates Conference is for Bawumia and the ministers, government appointees. However, the General Congress is for either Alan or Ken and the polling station executives. To you, Angelo.
Right, so Mark watching us from the USA, greetings Mark. He says, hello Paul, do not be so sure of Honorable Garte voting for himself. General Erskine got 0 votes where he voted with his family members in 1993. This is Ghana for you. Mustafa Tonzwa says, good evening Paul. The gender minister's name is Hajia Lariba Abudu, MP of Wale Wale. This according to Mustafa. Joe Dakota says, his name alone is a campaign message against John Mahama and the NDC. There is something magical with Dr. Bawumia, and I think he's breaking the 8s assured. Ishmael says, yes, the MP for Takwa is for Bawumia. And that's it from me. Back to you, Paul.
Okay. So messages are coming in thick and fast, and people are sending me the message that they are watching. I like to, however, pay tribute to one person who is watching. Kakra is watching. Kakra is based in London, and she is here for a funeral, and she went to Kumasi for the funeral. Good evening, Kakra. Thank you very much for watching. All right, it's now, 9 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's get back onto the touch screen and deal with the Cecilia Dapaah matter, isn't it? Okay. Before the Cecilia Dapaah matter, though, there's a corruption index, a United Nations published corruption index, and I was delighted to find, well, was I delighted? I was anxious when I saw the list. Let's go into it. So we put it here down in these graphics for you to see. Thank you very much, graphic. I think the color is beautiful. It's easy on the eyes of viewers, and so I'm sure viewers are liking it. My graphics guy is solid, isn't he? It's very, very solid guy. Okay, so the percentages you see here represent the percentage of people from whom these officials have demanded bribes. This is about bribery, and this story is taking us into the Cecilia Dapaah matter, isn't it? This story is about bribery. So it's the percentage of people, the percentage of Ghanaians that these people in this column have demanded bribes from. So Ghana police officers have demanded bribes from 53.2% of the citizenry. Demanded. I don't know how to put this conversation. Because you see, many years ago, I had a show here at this Good Evening Ghana that I've been doing for a lifetime. I had a show here. And my guest was Dr. Raymond Atuguba on that occasion. And he had done some work on police. You know, Dr. Atuguba, before he became Secretary to the President, dedicated his legal practice to researching into police and security and all of that. So he had done some research into how the police do their work. And he told me that on his way to the studio, at that time, we were running an out of, what do you call it, OB, outdoor broadcast studio in a place in Airport Residential area. We're marketing a hotel that had just started. So we're doing the program from there, and we'll tell viewers that we are live in this hotel, etc. So we'll drive our equipment and our OB van, then we'll invite our guests to come over. So he did. And he said to me that he had just given a policeman 20 cedis. And I said, Prof, but that's a bribe. He said, no, it's not a bribe. How is it a bribe? A policeman stopped him, checked his car, and said he should go. And he said, take. So I'm not so sure whether in the analysis that the UN did, this 53% they are talking about is demand from police officers, or is people offering the police officers, sometimes because they think they've done wrong, sometimes because they have not done no wrong. In the case of Raymond Atuguba, he had done no wrong. He just felt that a policeman standing there at 8:30 in the evening, it's okay to give him 20 cedis. That's what he thought. As his contribution to development. That's what he thought. Now, if you've sat in Trotro before, as I have, you will see that when the police stop, they put the money in the driver's license. I don't know whether you noticed that. When the police stop, they put the money in the driver's license and give the driver's license to the policeman. So the policeman opens the driver's license and he sees the door, you know. He looks at the driver's license and says, okay. Now, I don't know whether they do that because the driver's license is problematic, or they do that because they are just giving money to the police. So we need to look at that. And I will want the research to come with further and better particulars to show us that when they say police demanded, was it really demand, or that as a culture people are paying them? Whatever it is, the police are leading 53.2%. Ghana Immigration Service officials, 37.4%. There again, they talk about demand. I don't know whether it's demand or that they are giving to the immigration officials, sometimes because they've done some wrong, sometimes because they've done no wrong, isn't it? Our culture is like that. We give to people who we think deserve it, or who we think have done something. Or I mean, I go to buy petrol at a petrol station, and I buy the petrol and I pay the money and I'm leaving. I attend down and say, hey, good evening, Ghana. Mr. Paul, how? Whether it's cold or Mr. Paul, and then they are not. I won't call that demand, because they are not cajoling me to give them money. They are just sort of, you can't even say they are begging, but they are creating an atmosphere to suggest to you that if it won't worry you, you can drop something. Very similar to what we pastors do. You know, we go to church and ask people to pay money. So the guy says, "Good evening," and I'm going fan. Oh, me call Laboni here. Oh, can you fine? Then you made an echo, you know, that's kind of things. And then it means 50 cedis or 20 cedis or 10 cedis or 5 cedis, whichever your means is. I'm not so sure whether that, as a culture, is captured in this report so that they don't just say that we are corrupt and all. I mean, you can't do that in England. But they do other things. They do different things there as part of their culture. So we have to understand that the corruption index that is depicted here must do better particulars about the transfer of the money and the spirit behind it. It's very, very important. What is the spirit behind me giving the petrol attendant 20 cedis? Has he cajoled me to do that? No, he's just created an atmosphere and he's asking me that, if you don't mind, can you please give me money? Yeah, all right. So there's GRA custom officers. That's kind of dangerous, you see, because by the time a GRA custom officer approaches you, it means you're in trouble. It's not like the police officer who approaches you on a routine basis. No, it's not the police. The police officer approaches you on a routine basis, not him. This GRA guy there, when he comes to you, it means your taxes have a problem. If therefore we are seeing that 33%, 33.6% are paying GRA officials, we should be very, very worried about that. That's where the worry ought to be. The police one is okay, but this one we should be worried. Lands Commission, we should be worried, because you don't engage the Lands Commission official unless you are in a transaction about state lands, which are all quite expensive. There's no state land that is cheap. Every state land is expensive. So if in that context, 32% are paying money as bribes to Lands Commission, that's very worrying. DVLA, that one too. I mean, I go to DVLA to do my car, what do they call it? Roadworthy. I mean, you get there, you do the roadworthy, or there's a queue, and you get there, oh, Paul, I don't want you, oh, come, they take you through, When you finish, and they are seeing you off, if you don't mind, you can give something. If you don't mind. If you don't give, don't tell you anything. If you don't give, don't worry you. They're not harassing you to give them money. But they've seen you, and you've come through, and they've taken you through the process. It is expected by culture that you ought to know that the two gentlemen, or the lady and a gentleman who facilitated the process for you, so that something that can take 15 minutes, it took 7 minutes. It stands to reason. Or you get there at 5 minutes to 5. They could decide that they are closing because they need 5 minutes to put themselves together and close. They can decide that. But they say, oh, madam, somebody has just come. Oh, some guy has just come. Boss, oh, Pacho Road, where you're not kind of thing. And you say, oh, Pacho, I mean, if you come and say, that kind of narrative. Then he says, okay, and then they do it, and then you finish. You cannot just walk away, you know. So that one, I don't think it is bribery in terms of the negativity of corrupting a public official. I'm not sure that is it. It's a cultural thing that the people who did the research must identify and be able to factor it into their analysis. Passport agency and officials, 29%. We just saw our foreign minister yesterday routing the passport people and telling them that they should get off a back virtually, but they should walk out of the office. They shouldn't come there anymore. So that's what we find. Prosecutors, judges, and magistrates, that's also problematic, because by the time you come into contact with a prosecutor, you come in contact with a judge, or you come in contact with a magistrate, by and large, you have questions to answer. Now, if people who have questions to answer are paying 22% of the citizenry are paying magistrates and judges, that's also very worrying. It's a worrying phenomenon that we need to look at, isn't it? Okay. National Intelligence Bureau is particularly disturbing. Very, very worrying. The NIB, the National Intelligence Bureau, that is doing investigations, the very sophisticated investigations against crime, is conducted by the National Investigations Bureau. We don't want to see that they are demanding bribes from 21% of the citizenry. That is very, very worrying, isn't it? It's problematic. I believe so. Road safety and road safety authority, that one, it falls in the police category, the immigration category, that kind of thing. Yeah, all right. Prison officials. That one too, I think. So if somebody is in prison, his people go and visit him, and he tells them that, oh, this prison officer is very, very kind to me. You know, every time he brings us out of the farm and he takes us out of the car, he gives us the food. He's very kind to me. And the people decide that, oh, prison officer, a friend was saying, and he says, so your friend me, Baba. I say, okay, Baba, now your friend me Kwame Mensah, and your patrol Jamaica cry, and you need say, I'll share the something like that. It's allowed. I think it's allowed. It's not corruption. It is just showing appreciation to somebody's work. People will say that it is his normal work. Why are you showing appreciation? I get that. But it is also culturally right to give something to the person if they have said that she's doing a good job. Okay, all right. So that's prison. MMDA's officials. And then there's GRA tax or revenue officers, 12%. That one too is problematic, isn't it? Members of the Ghana Armed Forces, 10%. I put that around the police area. Welfare officials, 10%. Embassy consulate officers, 10%. That's also very interesting. Public utility officials, 9.5%. Teachers, lecturers, or professors, 9.5%. I'm not sure what form this teacher's bribe, what they are calling bribe, takes. But I sincerely believe that may not be bribe. If a person is giving a teacher money, I'm not sure. Unless the students who are looking for admission, students who are looking to change their results. If that is so, then maybe the research should have stated it. But a professor, I'm not so sure that professors are taking money to change people's results. I don't know, but this needs a bit more explanation. Doctors, nurses, and midwives, I think that is totally, it's most likely incorrect. People go to, look at how our hospitals are choked. Some nurses get out of their way to do something. You give them money. A nurse is closing, he's walking out. He says, oh, nurse, and Pacho, for dressing. Hey, me dem upon. He says, okay, mama. That's the dressing. And then you say 30 CDs and they come and put it as corruption. I'm not sure about that. doctors, nurses, and midwives. Midwives corrupt. What are they going to do? The woman is about to give birth. They have to they always do it. They almost always do it. They will not say, give me money before I take the child out of the lady. No. But when they finished, most likely family members, the lady herself, her husband, or other children, they are most likely going to thank the midwife. Thank the midwife doesn't mean you say thank you. Yes, you say thank you and you say God bless you, but you add 20 cedis. And I'm not sure that's corruption. If that's what is being captured as corruption, I think we should have another look at it. Because those who do the research must be sensitive to the culture of the people that they are researching, you see. Okay, so I guess that we are almost done. Executive branch of government, 5.6. What does that mean? Does it mean the vice president, the chief of staff, or it means that the executive branch, including Ministry of Local Government, okay, there's local government representatives here, 4.3, Social Security, 3.8, other health workers in public hospitals, 3.3, elected government representatives, that's members of parliament, 2.9. I'm not sure. You know, parliament doesn't have a lobbying system. So if you want parliament to do something for you, you go to the parliamentarians themselves and talk to them about it. I don't know whether they demand money or you need to pay money, because if parliament had a lobbying system like the United States, and I have a lobby group, and I had been thinking about this. That's why I supported Professor Michael Quay's private members bill. So there's a private members bill like the LGBTQ. It's a private members bill. And you want to move a private members bill as an organization or as an oil company or whatever. You want to move a private members bill, you go to the lobbying organization in parliament. They will tell you that this bill can be passed in 1 year. For the bill to be passed in 1 year, you need to produce this document, that document. But they charge you a fee as well. In America, they can charge you millions of dollars to the lobbying group for the passing of the bill. What they do with that money includes their fees and other things, other people's fees, and it could be some congressmen, it could not be them, I don't know. But the lobbying group charges you. In Ghana, we don't have that. So if you want to create a private members bill about pollution, you have to go and talk to the committee. I'm not so sure whether that talking will exclude money, because you are inviting them to do something for you. I mean, I really don't understand. Recently, I called a journalist, online journalist, and I said, how are you? He said, fine. I said, my name is Paul Adomochi. He said, hey, Chief, how are you? I said, I'm good. I said, listen, I want you to be posting some of our Good Evening Ghana stories, but I don't want you to use our videos independently. If we want you to use a video, we'll give it to you, but I don't like the way you pick our videos and use it. So we will give you the story. When we want you to use a story, we will pay you for it. How much will you charge? Then he went like, oh, no, we don't charge. I said, oh, calm down. You can charge. It's your online platform. I don't know why media people are like that. It's your online platform. You have not asked me to come and pay. You have not asked me to come and pay. I am offering to pay. There's nothing wrong with it. You've created an online platform. I want my story on it. I pay. It's as simple as that. So I told him, lawyers charge for their services. Why are you doing, so you'll be doing your work free? What are you talking about? You've created an online platform. I want my story online. I can put my story on Good Evening Ghana Facebook page. I do that. But I think that if I put it on your platform as well, it will aid my story. How much will you charge? Oh, no, we don't charge. I don't get it. I mean, Kweku is giving me pressure to move on. But I have to tell you this story relating to this charging matter. Many years ago, I was called by an important commission in the country. And I had heard all of these rumors going around about Paul Adomochi, and when you go on Good Evening Ghana, he will charge you. And they haven't brought any person who I charge, but they used to say that a lot about me. I think now they've stopped, but they used to say it. And at that time, it was a peak of the matter. So I was invited to this meeting with my boss, Mr. Haruna. We went to the commission, we sat down. Fortunately for me, one of the commission leaders had called me about Good Evening Ghana that week. So we went in and they said to me that, we have invited you here to assist with what media people are reported to be doing. I said, what are they reported? They said they've been charging money to appear on their platform. Then they quickly added that, oh, we are not talking about you. I knew they were talking about me, but they said they are not talking about you. We mean being an experienced journalist. Can you help with this analysis? I said, yes, I can help. And I said, okay, good. Mr. Haruna was sitting there. And I said, do you mean the state broadcaster or you mean the private broadcaster? That was an important question. And they answered that it's the private broadcaster. The state GBC doesn't do that. I said, great. You mean the private broadcaster? They said, yes. I said, okay, so an example is you come on Good Evening Ghana and I say, pay me money before you come on Good Evening. Is that also? They said, yes, something like that. I said, good. I said, okay, I run Good Evening Ghana 3 times a week. It's a private station, Metro TV. It's not government, it's private. All the resources there is private. It's not government. Now, if you call me that you want to come on Good Evening Ghana, I am entitled to charge you. Then they went quiet. Then Mr. Haruna was nodding his head because I had discussed with him already. They went very quiet. I said, yes, I'm doing my Good Evening Ghana. I have not asked you to come. You call me that you want to come. I'm entitled to charge. And I pointed to him. I said, like you, mister, Last week you called me that you have written a book, didn't you? You said I did. And you said you want Good Evening Ghana. I am entitled to charge you. Do you know why? Because there's TV3, there's GH1, there are many TV stations. The reason why you are calling me to come on Good Evening Ghana is because I have done something to Good Evening Ghana that you like. That's why you want to come. The doing of the thing is my resources. I will charge you for it. There's nothing wrong with that. They were looking at me. Mr. Haruna was nodding because I told him. I said, there's nothing wrong with that. I will charge you if you want to come on Good. Recently, a presidential candidate called me. It was ODK or something. And I asked him, how much will you charge? He wants to come on Good Evening Ghana. But if a presidential candidate ODK calls me, I will charge him. And I will charge him any amount of money I want. He can decide he wants to pay or he doesn't want to pay. That's up to me. And when I charge the money, it just has to go into the books. This is the charge for this. This is the charge for that. This is the charge for that. Not that we charge. We don't charge. But there's nothing wrong with charging. And then I told them there also that when people come on Good Morning Ghana and Good Evening Ghana, we pay them. They said, really? Mr. Haruna said, yes, we give them petrol. It's a token payment. It's a token. But we give it to them, petrol. So it's not a big payment. There's a particular guest. He's a security and intelligence analyst. Anytime he comes on this show, I pay him. And he'll call me and say, Paul, I'm coming, how much? I said, oh, Doc, I beg today, how much? He will mention the figure. I said, I'll pay. I pay from my own resources. I pay him. There's another professor of the university. Whenever he comes on this show, I pay him. He will demand it, and I pay him. So when I call him, Professor, come and explain the thing to my guest, I am borrowing from his intellectual resources. So I have to pay him. If, on the other hand, he calls me and says, Paul, I have some matter which I want to discuss on Good Evening God, I am entitled to charge him. Whilst we don't charge, we are entitled to charge. So I think journalists should open up themselves a little bit. You are working. If you are working for Joy FM, you can't charge money that Joy FM should be charging. No, you can't. But if you have an independent program like that, I can charge money and I may have to pay Metro TV or have to tell Metro TV that this is how much the person pays. When we run commercials, they pay. I mean, it was when TV3 started doing television that people understood that a business crew can come and cover a story and you pay. You pay for it. And I got into trouble the other day with John Benjamin, the former British High Commissioner, because I was emceeing Imani's 10th anniversary. He said something that really upsets me, so I decided I won't MC the show anymore. Many people were there. Franklin Kujo was there. He said, John Benjamin, he had just arrived in the country. And he was criticizing journalists, and the journalists were sitting there clapping. Sometimes I don't understand what happens with some Ghanaian journalists. I don't really get it. I don't know whether they feel inferior or what. I don't understand it. Some of them, not all journalists, some of them. They were clapping when John Benjamin was blasting and abusing them. They were clapping. John Benjamin said he comes to British High Commission, he calls journalists to come and do a story, and then after the story, instead of them to go back to the office, they are waiting for what he said is Soli. We call it Soli, but he says Soli. So as MC, I looked at this Obroni guy who I had seen just a week earlier at my former school, University of London, where he had been oriented. So I just went to the school. I go there often when I'm in London. And I was going, they said, the guy who is going to the orientation, he's coming to Ghana as High Commissioner. I said, let me go and see him. So I went to see him. I said, I'm Ghanaian. I hear you come to Ghana. I shook hands with him. He didn't remember. So I had seen him then. Then I come to Alisa Hotel. This guy is talking, and he's just talking down on journalists anyhow. And I look at him, and I say, hey, what's wrong with this guy? So I take the mic and say, I'm not going to MC this show anymore. Now, Mr. John Benjamin, it was in Alisa. Many people were there. You can ask them. I said, Mr. John Benjamin, when you call journalists to come to your office to do your story, why do you think you shouldn't pay for it? Did they tell you that they want the story? You call them to come. So we sit in Metro, we have our lineup, we are doing it, they get a call. Oh, British High Commission is to come. I say, what am I doing? Do we have Parliament? Do we have this High Commission? We don't have people. Okay, you go. Then I say, High Commission, when they come, you pay them. And you say it is corruption? I was totally shocked. What is corruption about that? Do you know how much CNN charges for the stories they do? What is corruption? Why do they always want to put journalists down and make them look like they are some thieves? You are not thieves, journalists. You are not thieves. You are doing your work. And anybody who wants to benefit from your work is entitled to pay you. Why are you afraid of it? This online guy, I called him. He said, no, Paul, we don't charge. I said, you have to charge me. I have called you and said, I want my story on your web. So you tell me, Mr. Adumoshe, for every Good Evening Ghana story you do on your web, you pay us 200 cedis. Fair enough. I can say, 200, I beg. Can I pay 100? Yes. But I don't charge. You are just going to put the story on the web just for free? Is it my web? It's your web. It's not mine. So we need to understand these things then deal with it. Okay, I will now dovetail straight into the Cecilia Dapaah story with 26 minutes to the top of the hour. It appears that I may not be able to do the local government story because the Niger story is very important. I'll take the local government story most likely on Thursday. Tell Professor Kwame now that he can go to bed. I'll do his story on Thursday. I know that he's watching. he wants to see what I'll say about him. So I'll do the Cecilia Dapaah story. Okay, so this is the Cecilia Dapaah story. I don't have the photograph of Victoria Bath, the lawyer who wrote the letter, but this is Cecilia Dapaah, my good friend. This is Kwesi Chu, my boss. This is Kisia Jabe, my good friend. Namidu, how should I call him? Uncle, Dada? I'm not so sure. But Martin Amidu is also in the saddle. Now, let's get to the Cecilia Dapaah story. I have to say something, viewers, to you about what happened last Thursday. You know that we have not put out the social media film of my narrative on Special Prosecutor and Joy FM and all that, because my principal advisor said that I was too fiery in that video, so I should have calmed down. That's why we haven't put it up. I will try and say the same things in the video coming up now. Because it's about the same subject, and then we can put this up. I'm going to say the same things. He said what I said was good, that's what he said, but I sounded too angry, and sometimes when you do that, it looks like it's personal. I have nothing personal against Kisia Jabe. He's my friend. He knows that we know each other, no problem. But I needed to put the points right. This is Kisia Jabe I'm talking about. I have nothing personal against him. I just needed to put something right, and he knows I have nothing personal against him. The last time we met, the conversation ended on the pure social matter that I cannot even say here. So we're good, but it is about nation building, it's about principles, and it's about people's innocence until they are proven guilty. It's very, very important. And that's why I was fiery like that, because it was the second time this was happening. So I will try and do the same things today, and then we can use today's own, so that the other one, it's on social media in the big one, but not everybody has time to forward and get there. So sometimes we take the small video and give it to you. We didn't do that for this one because I was advised that it was too fiery. Okay, so Kisi, you know I have nothing against you, don't you? All right, let's move on. So this is the letter from Sam Okudzeto and Associates. That's Cecilia Dapaah wrote eventually. This is her first step forward. She's been on the defensive all the time. Now this is her first step forward. And the letter is as follows. We asked for Mrs. Cecilia Dapaah, hereinafter referred to as our client, and write regarding some recent untrue and misleading publications from your outlet. Our instructions are therefore as follows. On 8th August 2023, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, hereinafter referred to as the OSP, filed an application in the High Court Financial Division to confirm, among others, a freezing order regarding our client's bank account. Although the application did not disclose any specific amounts of money found in the bank accounts, your news outlets, Joy News, published false information about the amounts in those accounts while ascribing the information to nameless, unidentified, and unverifiable sources. Specifically, at about 12:30 p.m. on 10th August 2023, your outlets published a story titled OSP Tracks $5 million, Finds $48 million in Cecilia Dapaah's Prudential bank accounts, unquote. Within that story, your outlet proceeded to publish that sources at the OSP had disclosed amounts of money in the frozen bank accounts of our clients and mentioned that other monies had been found in other accounts. Again, at about 2 p.m., your outlet shared multiple stories titled, quote, Joy News Prime, Cecilia Dapaah case, OSP tracks $5 million in total bank transactions over a period, unquote. And, quote, Joy News Today, OSP finds $5 million and 48 million cedis in Cecilia Dapaah's account, unquote, on social media platform YouTube. Not only had the OSP not disclosed any amounts found in our client's account, but the assertion that our client's account contained $5 million and 48 million is false. Indeed, at about 4 p.m. on that same day, 10th August 2023, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, via one of his verified social media handles, Office of the Special Prosecutor Ghana at OSP Ghana, unquote, rebutted and dispelled claims that it had revealed any specific amounts of money found in our client's bank accounts. Despite this rebuttal, at 7 p.m. of 10th August 2023, your outfit continued to post material alluding to the false statements that $5 million and 48 million had been found in our client's bank account. Okay. From the foregoing, it is evident that your outfit's consistent reportage of our client's matter has been steeped in the purported reliance on information from unidentified sources and a reckless disregard for truth and accuracy. The figures you have been publishing about the sums in our client's bank accounts are false, and you have continued to push these falsehoods that you attribute to unidentified and unverified sources. It is apparent that your outfit's coverage and publications are actuated by malice and a deliberate, reckless attempt to impute wrongdoing to our client, contrary to the constitutional and time-honored principle of a presumption of innocence innocent, the presumption of innocence she is legally entitled to. The presumption of innocence that Cecilia Dapaah is entitled to. Bastardized first by the special prosecutor and later on by Joy FM. It goes on. We are by this letter demanding that your outfit retracts the false information it has published and apologizes to our clients within 3 days from the delivery of this letter using the same means and coverage within which it published the false information. Failing which, we have our clients' firm instructions to institute legal action and bring the full force of the law to bear on your outfit for the damage and injury your reportage has caused and keeps causing. Okay, that letter is signed by a lady called Victoria Dapaah. Okay, all right, let's get to the details now. Now, Samson Ladi Ayenene may have his work cut out for him because I know that he represents Joy FM and is editors on some of these matters. But this is the point we have been making about journalism, about media, and all of that. Why do you get yourself into a situation like that and get sued by Cecilia Dapaah, Joy FM? Why? And that day I was complaining about the attitude of the OSP, and I said that there's a guy at the OSP whose name we have, who we have been told that went to Joy FM in the middle of the 12:30 broadcast and handed them over a document saying that we found 5 million in her bank accounts, which is totally false, absolutely false. In the end, it turned out that whatever money they found in Cecilia Dapaah's bank accounts is money, whatever money they reported is money that had been rolling out of an account that is over 30 years old from Prudential Bank. That's the total amount. They're not talking about the money in today. They're talking about 3 decades of transactions, 2.5 decades of transactions. That's what they are talking about. Why would a media house do this? Why would a media house not verify the information? Often people send us information here. People think that we like to do propaganda. So they send us, hey, look, this is about NDC. Publish. I say, no, I can't publish this. I cannot publish. And then I'll text to Sami Jemfi. Recently, somebody sent me something. I sent to Sami Jemfi. I said, Sami, did you say this? And then he texted me back and said, it's a fake account. It's not me. And we get that all the time because we always have a verification denominator before we come here. Otherwise, in 20 years, we would have been sued so many times. But in 20 years, we have never been sued. In spite of the editorial, the opinion, and all the things that we've been doing, we've never been sued because we are careful about verification. I would have thought that every media, especially an important one like Joy FM, will be careful. I don't know whether Cecilia Dapaah will win the case or not. The court will decide that. I don't know who will win. But just for the points that she's alluding to, if there's anything to go by, and from what we know about what happened in Joy FM that day, where somebody from the special prosecutor's office went to give Joy FM information whose name we have and whose name the authorities also have, that is worrying. And about whom Martin Amidu has said that Section 74 of the OSP Act 959 can prosecute that person who is leaking information of the special prosecutor's work because the fundamental principle is innocent until proven guilty. And that's a time-honored principle, as Victoria Dapaah said in her letter, that Cecilia Dapaah is innocent until she's proven guilty. Until the court comes out or whatever investigation that is being done comes out and say that until she has stolen the money, she's done that, she's done that, she's done that, then we know that she's guilty. Until then, you have to preserve the innocence. That's how we grow our society. That's what the Anglo-Saxon common law is about. That's what it is about. It cannot be about anything else. So that's the point we make about media work. It has to be thorough. It's not just a hurry to grab ears and eyes or a hurry to be famous so you hide cameras all over your body. I'll never stop talking about that until they stop. Hiding cameras all over their body and catching information, that is worthless. This is where we are today. Special prosecutor's office, then Joy FM says, oh, special prosecutor's office said this, said that. And it's about the special prosecutor himself as well. He knows that there's a Section 74 in his thing that can prosecute people who do that in his office. He knows that he ought not to give the public a certain information that suggests that Cecilia Dapaah is guilty before she's proven guilty. But he carries cameramen to Cecilia Dapaah's house and says that I've seized her bank accounts and this is the money. And somebody from the office of the Special Prosecutor's office, who people suspect was working under the instructions of his boss, but go and give this to Joy FM so that you can push the story. What is this about? What could this be about? Anyway, let's hope that this ends well. But this is the point I made about the Special Prosecutor's Office. You cannot be sending information. They put a photograph there. Oh, that's the lady. Okay, I didn't know her. This is Victoria Dapaah. I'm sure the photograph is taken from the company's website, Okujeto's website. Victoria Dapaah, lawyer for Cecilia Dapaah. That's her. Good evening, madam. Okay, yes. So thank you very much for that photograph. So that's Victoria Dapaah. I didn't know her. All right. So this is the point. This is the point. And I also heard. Okay, I won't talk about that today. I'll wait for that. I'll wait for another day. So this is the point I've been making. Office of the Special Prosecutor needs to get back on the straight and narrow and conduct their business as a special prosecutor. As Martin Amidu said, investigation is not done in the public. Investigation is not a fashion show. It's not a parade. It's not a media charade. No, investigation is investigation because you are holding people's reputation in your hand and you need to guard it properly and protect it. That is why the president appoints a special prosecutor and he goes through the parliamentary appointments committee process. So we are sure that the person who becomes special prosecutor has a test of character, that he's not going to do media charade, that he's not going to be interested in promoting himself. He's going to be interested in conducting sacrosanct investigations and coming to the conclusions that help us deal with our corruption and corruption-related offenses. That's what we expect the special prosecutor to do. So all of these things that have happened around Cecilia Dapaah shows that the special prosecutor has a bit more road to cover and to stay on the straight and narrow and deliver his work. Charles Edu Boyenstein has been lying with them for 1 year. What has happened to it? Charles Edu, the president referred it to them for 1 year. Nothing has happened to it. The journalists are not asking him what has happened to it. They are interested in following him to go to Cecilia Dapaah's house with a drone and film how the house looks like and say that I went there the second time I searched, I got more money. How do people even get to know that he says Cecilia Dapaah's house for 5 hours? It's them who said it. From now onwards, as this legal matter begins to take a life of its own, I hope that it will help the special prosecutor to stay on the straight and narrow, and do your work. And I hope that journalists will also be conscious of their calling, that whatever you need to publish, it has to be verified, properly verified. Even if you don't know the amount, you can say that undisclosed sums of money was found in Cecilia Dapaah's account. She can't sue you for that. Nobody can sue you for saying undisclosed amount. But you say 5 million and 48 million. Assuming without admitting that you go to the court and the court says that it wasn't 48 million, it was 36 million. You're still wrong on the facts. And you may still be charged. I'm not sure how Joy FM are going to relate to this, but I think the 3 days is about to end, and we want to see what will happen. Perhaps they will say, I was telling a friend of mine this evening that I don't think any media house is going to say I withdraw. It may be a big faux pas. It may be, but I don't know what's going to happen. So that's really about our Cecilia Dapaah stories. And this is how are you? Dangwamo is still there. I'll come for it, yeah? Okay. I had a story about me, the Attorney General, and the guy, the due respect, loud silence, due respect. He said it, that, oh, let me tell you something. He said, let me tell you something, people, let me tell you something. Somebody sent me the video and I watched it. Paul Adubochi and Godfrey Dami and Cecilia Dapaah, they were in the Attorney General's office. But what is secret about that? I started laughing. I said, what's secret about that? Yes, I went to Attorney General's office with a document. I said, Chief, this thing, I need to look at it. Where will you be in the office? He said, come. I'll be there around 4. Okay. I got there. It was about 3 o'clock, something like that. I called him. I said, so when Attorney General, you go and look for him, there are plenty of people looking for him. So if you don't call him before you go, you can sit down for, I've sat down for an hour and a half, just reading my book and waiting for him. He came back and said, oh, Paulus, you are here. I said, yeah, I'm here. I said, well, it doesn't matter. I know you're a busy man. So on this occasion, I called him. I said, today is my production day. Are you there? He said, I'm here. Come for a surprise. Come. I said, what surprise? He said, you come up. So I entered the secretariat and I entered it. I saw it. I said, hey, Auntie Cici. He said, now the baby I'm a kubia now dimechi. I have so bad baby I'm a kubia now dimechi. I said, I'm do it now dimechi. He said, oh Paul, but why are that I near John Hopa? We sat down and we talked and I said, okay, so what's this about? It was whilst I was there that OSP sting came. OSP said, was it I don't call it an apology, a clarification that he hasn't told anybody anything. And I looked at it and I told the people that look at this. It's 4 o'clock. It's now after Joy FM have bastardized the thing. So that's the conversation we had. And then I told them that I need to go. So I'm sure people saw me there and they told him and he thinks it's some big secret. What is the secret about that? I go to ministers all the time and I'm looking for information. I do that. I don't go often. But when I'm looking for information, I don't have any hesitation to call a minister and say, I need to come and see you. And I went, Cecilia Dapaah was truly there. But they are investigating her matter. They are prosecuting for her. So she goes there very often. She has a reason to be in the Attorney General's office. And she was there. It's just yesterday they were colleagues in Parliament. So if Cecilia Dapaah was there, the Attorney General was there, and I came in, what is the matter about it? And he says that from there, Paul Adumochi went on TV. Yes, it is true. I clarify things before I come on TV so I don't get sued. So when I'm talking about something about the justice ministry and the justice delivery system, because I knew the Attorney General from Commonwealth, he was my friend there, I always call him. We have a nickname we call him, which I won't say. I call him and I said, Chief, please, I need clarification on this. Then you tell that I won't give you the thing on phone and you go and stand on your TV and you bastardize it. So come and write it down properly. You're always in a hurry, Paul, or you're always in a hurry. Come and sit down, write it down well. If you can't do it today, you can do it on Thursday. Because if you want me to give you the information, you have to come. I was okay, I'm coming. Then after that, he's bullying me. He said I should come, so I'm going. And then I'll go and I ask, he said, take your time. You journalists, wait. Write it down slowly. That's how Godfrey Dame is. He's very meticulous. So what is the problem? It's no story. You see, that's the kind of journalism they do. A story that is no story. And Paul Adonwashi was with Cecilia. Yeah, I was there. I was in Attorney General's office. I was very there, as sometimes we say in pidgin English. And Cecilia Dapaah, Attorney General told me that, come, there's a surprise here for you. I entered and here's my favorite Auntie Cici. Say, hey, baby, no atuame. That's what she said in tree. And we had a nice conversation. In fact, I left with Auntie Cici together. We descended the steps together. So I'm sure somebody may have taken a photograph as they do these days and sent it to him and say, look, they were there. Yes, I was very there. And I was there because of this kind of bad work. That's why I was there. Okay, let the Niger guy take a seat and let Bello get ready. And so the local government matter, I will push it to Thursday. It's a very, very important analysis I want to do. I'll push it till Thursday. It's 42 minutes past. Your text messages, are you ready, please? Because should we take the break or we should do the text messages?
We're really high right now.
Say again?
We're very high right now.
Okay, we're very high? Okay, so we should do the text messages, isn't it? All right. So we're going to Niger and text messages. Who's going to start, please? Anyone can start. Yeah, you? Okay, so please start.
Okay, so this is coming from Nana Dodankwa, and it says, as I watch your program, I learned through it as well. You are not just news broadcaster as you are always asserted, but you are also a teacher. Thank you, Paul. Opokwene says, it's funny people keep on saying one is justifying the wrong. It's a problem we have on education and sense of reason as the youth. Has she been accused of corruption? The investigation has not been completed. This is coming from Akeson Baba Taylor. And says, good evening, Paul. In fact, your show is educative and informative. You are really classical definition of impactful journalism. This is coming from Bernard Dance. He says, good evening, Paul. The retired CEO Pikofi Boache said in an interview with Kwesi Pratt Jr. that some of our proverbs breed corruption, and I kind of agree with him. We must instill the discipline of commitment without the inducement in all facets of our society. Lastly, this is coming from Abel. He says, Paul, I don't second you. I also don't agree with you at all, because you came and, let's say you came and met people in the queue. You sneaked your way in and out swiftly, and after that you pay some money to them. What is that called? And this coming from Moses. Moses says, almost every public institution in Ghana has corrupt officials. These figures may not be accurate, but can't be discounted or dismissed totally. Some midwives and nurses are corrupt. Antoinette.
Okay, so still on the corruption index, Charles Edu says, Paul, I think I disagree with you on your bribery and corruption discussion. It is this same culture of ours that is killing us slowly, as in, if taking tips or monies when services are rendered, then it becomes a practice that everyone who comes for same service ought to give money. That actually is corruption. You would realize people even become angry when these tips are not given. I think it's a bad culture that we are practicing as Ghanaians, and we must stop. Charles Edu from Nsawem. Drying Edu says the doctors, nurses, and midwives are corrupt. The doctors in public hospitals, some of them have envelopes of churches. First, they would ask you what work you do. When you mention and it is lucrative work, then they give you the envelope saying, my church is having a fundraising, so if you can help, nurses and midwives at least, you talk about them, the least you say about them, the better. Peter Ryan said, Paul, with this kind of explanation, you seem to be watering down the extent of corruption in our nation. Samuel Kelly says, it is worse with nurses, Paul. Shocking, a nurse wouldn't help an elderly man to collect a urine sample. You have a sick or elderly patient, and no one will reposition the patient or change his or her pampers. Even when offered tips, they don't do the work. They are hellbound. No wonder they are banned from EU countries. And Yahaya Adam says, I think your culture is unduly corrupt, which is the Ghanaian culture. No law can change it, so we have to assess ourselves carefully. Anastasia.
All right, thank you, Annette. So yes, coming from Augustine Asari Donko, he says we need to amend our culture. That is what is influencing bribery and corruption. Coming from God's Way Salom, he says, Mr. Paul, that cultural thing is causing the corruption. I went to UAE and you can't pay any service render, whether being public or private sector, and they can be sacked. So coming from Solomon Techi, he says, Paul, the DVLA, no, I don't agree with you. Sometimes they mention some amounts you pay and find out what you paid is more than the amount on the receipt. It happened to me in Sunyani. For Moses Akurugu, he says, Mr. Paul, the persistent begging by immigration officers at the Kotoka International Airport is a national disgrace and should be stopped. Such behavior doesn't create a positive image about Ghana and its people. They are the first contacts when foreigners arrive, and if they create such bad first impression, persons coming into the country for the first time will have a wrong informed opinion about Ghanaians. Watching live from New York. Lastly, from Emmanuel Obama, he said, Apostle Paul, good evening. May the good Lord bless you always for the wonderful work you do for Mother Ghana. You are one in a million. Stay safe. To you, Michelangelo.
Great.
Okay, let me take this before Mikhail comes. This is from somebody in Awo. She says, Apostle Paul, the letter is not strongly worded enough. It should have been addressed to both OSP, who was quoted by Joy FM as a source, and the Joy FM who reported from the said source. The afterthought, denial on the part of the OSP, does not absolve them from the initial reportage. A serious office of that caliber cannot afford to have workers, he says, with diarrhea mouth. I think that's quite strong. Those are his words. Auntie Ceci's lawyer is fantastic, but I think she needs a bold and courageous representation to handle such matters. It's coming from Samuel Bryan, and he is writing to us from Awoshi. I have another one who says that, Paul, you have been very lenient today with the OSP. Why have they spoken to you? Oh, no, I've not been lenient. I've just been more courteous. I'm sorry about last Thursday, what happened. I prefer to do it this way, gentlemen. I prefer this way, so let's deal with it like that. But yes, you are right. The OSP needs to get on the straight and narrow. Thank you very much. Mikhail, you can take it up.
Right, so from London, we have Arafat watching us, and he or she says, Paul, you'll be shocked. Most of the MPs who will vote for Ken Ajipong, he's been helping most of the parliamentarians to win their seats by giving them things to their constituency every year. Most of them will remember the good things he's done for them. Also, Paul, Ken did not exchange words with Hawa Kumsi. She came out to insult him. This is according to Arafat. And Ahmed, watching us from Tamale, says, this bribe matter needs serious segregation. Last week, Friday, I was stopped by the MTTU officials. My license had expired by a week. The officers drew my attention and asked that I renew it on Monday. I drove off, and on returning, I stopped and voluntarily gave the officers money for lunch. I will get mad if this is termed corruption. This is from Ahmed. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you very much. It's 10 minutes to the top of the hour. You want us to take a break? 2 minutes break? It's 2 minutes. 5 minutes. That's kind of long. Mikhail, break. Okay, let me introduce Bello then. Hassan Bello, how are you? Yeah, your laptop is on the way. It's coming. Many Nigerians like your video a lot. Are you from Nigeria by any chance? They said the Bello name is Nigeria. Or you were named after somebody from there?
The Bello is a Fulani name, so it cuts across the border because of...
I see. But have you been to Nigeria before?
Yeah, I've been to Nigeria before.
Which part?
Lagos.
Oh, Lagos. Okay. So we have a Nigerian in the studio today. Good evening, sir. What's your name?
Hello, sir. Good morning. Thanks for having me. My name is Hamidou Alfari Saleh.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Ça va très bien?
Ça va très bien, vous?
Oui.
Enchanté et merci de m'avoir invité ici.
That is where it will become a problem.
Thanks for having me here.
Thank you. We're going to talk about Niger and Bello. So Bello, what do we do? Should we listen to him first?
I think
and then we can factor it into your analysis.
Let's get
okay, perfect. And I have to congratulate Ibrahim Zebrila, our sports guy who brought the Nigerian into the studio. He called me late this evening. He said, boss, I have something for you. You like it? I said, what would it? I said, I have a Nigerian coming. I said, hey, go get the proper Nigerian. Don't come and give me somebody you think is Nigerian. He said, no, this is a Nigerian academic. And I know what you want, so I'll bring it. I said, okay, thank you. Ibrahim Zebrila, thank you very much. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. Break time. After that, okay, but before the break, let me do this because Tornado is going to get angry with me if I don't do this. So let me do this very quickly. Betway Golden Code promo. It says that, are you ready to get way more back with Betway in the new season? Now, whilst I do the Betway, okay, let me finish this is a commercial, so let me finish and I talk about what I want to do with Ibrahim. Use the golden booking code that you can find on the Betway site and place your risk-free bet from 25 to 27th August. Guaranteed to give you 100% back as free bet up as free. Bet up to 50 cedis if you lose. Regulated by the Gaming Commission. So Betway Golden Code promo is what they are saying. You can bet. What is it actually saying? You can from 27th August. You are guaranteed 100% back as free if you bet up to 50 cedis and you lose. So if you bet up to 50 cedis and you lose, they'll give you back your 50 cedis. That's what Betway Golden promo is saying, and is regulated by the Gaming Commission. What's their number? Okay, let's get to Betway Golden promo and have a look at it. Okay, let's do this one very quickly. It's the Makers Electronics Blessing promo. Rush the Makers Electronics promo. It is a 67% discount they are giving. Quality and affordable with 2 years warranty. Their showrooms are in Taifa, Burkina, Asamankese, Zongo Junction, Oyarifa, Taiman, Boga Junction, Kaswa New Market, Ashaman, Valco Flat, Kumasi, Ahinima Kokobeng, Takrade, Efie Kuma number 9 Market. And their telephone number is 055 223 or 22254. And then my favorite one, the elevators. Okay, it says, enjoy the fruits of your labor, but you know that as human beings, when you grow, you cannot climb all the way to the house that you have built. To do that, you just need to get the portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs. You are sure of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's simple to use and it's self-supported. Call them on 0200 535 and 515. 8 minutes to the top of the hour. I'm happy I did this in 2 minutes. Bello and Monsieur Abdul
Hamidou.
Monsieur Hamidou.
Yes, sir.
Oui. Je m'appelle Paul.
Je sais, je vous suis souvent à la télé. I watch you sometimes on TV.
D'accord.
So I know your name, I know who you are.
D'accord. Okay, viewers, today the friends has come. I know they are laughing at me at home like something. They are laughing at me at home, butu. And I can't wait to get there and they'll start telling me what the friend that I spoke on TV. After the break, we'll be right back for a very interesting discussion on Niger. You can't miss it.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200 535 515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
Betway is your gateway to a theme park full of gaming excitement. A whirlpool of wonder where your favorite games come to life. Where you can take to the skies with max payouts that reach into the millions. All in the palm of your hand. Visit betway.com.gh. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Bet responsibly. Betway. Bet your way.
My son, there's more blessing in giving than receiving. When you fear for you and cover the makers in
The pneumatological aberration of the Lord revealed unto me this night, that me and my household should go out into the world and bless the world.
Makers Electronics Company Limited. Up to 67% discount. Our selected appliances.
This is what I call quintessential immaculatability.
The Makers Electronics Company Limited. Taifa Burkina Highway. Amasama Zongo Junction. At the K Pharmacy Dining. Oyer Fateman Boga Junction. Ashaman Valco Flat. Kumasi. Ahinima Kokobeng. Asafu Bwachi Hospital Junction. Takrade. Number 9 Market.
Tell mom and dad about the Makers Blessing Attack program.
From 054 052-222-253 and 0552-222-254. Terms and conditions apply.
Yamawakwa ba de ba Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories. Aha de e ba no ka siesie ne ho aka de a. Ubenya bibie bi wa ha. Ka bia ne ha ene ne ohia. Yenso ye wo ho animdefo a obeso anu yi ama. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories ye dwumedie de. Eye 24/7 o. Ye siesie wo engine, wo brake, battery, yesesa wo tire. Se ba no car wash de a. Ye wo abefun fidie bi ti se steamer ye de horo car engine abra nsuo nko engine nim. Ye san ye detailing metre se ye betwetwe car no mu ba bia ma o. Ye wi a ya san polish car na ma o kama. Enye we no monko ye san to car batteries, tires, rims, any de keke kan. Manadum Auto Fix and Accessories ema wo car ensi ne dedem na enwu adwuma ma o. Hwehwe ye chira kwan wo dansoma na sorry dan ho a ene KFC bon hwanimu e won kran. Se wo information anansem bi se bia 024-651-9369. Nadum Auto Fix and Accessories. So papa.
Do you need a place with a stunning view and serene environment just beneath the Green Mountains with a commercial center and recreational area with an amazing park? Then look no further.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome to Rehoboth Havens, the most affordable yet luxurious gated community located in Damfa, Accra. We have 2 and 3 bedroom houses with spacious park. Let me show you. All of our rooms come with beautiful porcelain tiles, durable fitted kitchen cabinets,
constant water supply,
electricity and water 24/7.
I'm buying this house. Stop processing my papers. Eh? Move it, move it. If you're living in Ghana and want an affordable and luxurious house to buy, look no further than Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. Oh! And to those from the diaspora, aren't you tired of living in places that doesn't belong to you? You can also own your house and be your own landlord from Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. I have my own, Bosu Landlord.
Contact us now. Rehoboth Social Housing. Your housing dream becomes reality.
Welcome. It's 1 minute to the top of that 11 o'clock, but I have to do this text before we go because from a very important friend of mine, Raymond Archer. Good evening, Ray. How are you? The founder of the Enquirer newspaper. He writes something long, partially in support of Joy FM on the Cecilia Dapaah matter, but I'll read it. He says, "Hi Paul, I think it is important to clarify the Joy FM story. As I understood it, the Joy report suggested that a Prudential bank account of Madame Dapaah had a transaction value of $5 million and 48 million. I'm not sure what transaction value means. Okay, Paul, this reportage is different from the claim that the OSP found an amount of 5 million and 48 million. Okay, so Raymond, the transaction value was the second story. That was the 5:30 clarification. The 12:31 was that OSP found, and you will see it in Victor Abat's letter, and it is on Joy Online. I'm sure it's even now. A transaction value of 5 million and GHC 48 million could be that this amount could be a transaction over a period of time. I think this distinction must be made in all fairness to Joy FM. They did not say that they found an amount 5 million and 48 million in cash. Also, Joy did not say that the OSP had revealed to them that they found that amount in their account. What Joy said was that their sources at the OSP had hinted that they tracked the said account with the transaction value. Once again, a distinction is important. A source at the OSP cannot be construed to mean that the OSP as an organization was responsible for the leak of the said information. I think the lawyers are misrepresenting the Joy report. This is not to hold brief for Joy, but it is only fair to put their story in context. Okay. Bello, So tell us, where are we on Niger? Before I come to the interview, just an introduction.
Well, we're still at the loggerhead. We heard a report that, after the informal mediation of the Islamic clerics from Nigeria, who went to talk to the generals, they were willing to negotiate with ECOWAS. All of a sudden, we also had a report that they want to prosecute Bazoum for corruption. So it's more like one step forward, two steps backwards. But it could also be the fact that they are trying to raise the ante just to buy themselves some time. Because the longer it takes for ECOWAS decision, the more leverage, the more room we give them to consolidate their hold on power.
So is the force going to go or not?
Well, I think from all indication, the force will go. But what ECOWAS and Tinubu in particular is trying to do is to make sure all avenues of the dialogue and diplomacy has been exhausted. And if you look at it critically, at the moment, Nigeria has no cabinet. So we need to look at decision making in Nigeria, because whatever happens.
I want you to tell us about why does Nigeria doesn't have a cabinet? What was the problem? Didn't they do elections in February?
The election was held in February, and then there was this, horse trading behind the scene and whatever for the ministerial list to be released. But then recently, some names were released and were screened by they were vetted by the National Assembly, particularly the Senate. But as to the portfolios, it has not been allocated for now. So whatever happens, the decision will surely be solely Tinubu's decision at the moment. So he has to be very careful not to take the blame in case there's a failure.
Okay, let's come to the interview. Bonjour, monsieur, once again.
Bonjour, monsieur.
So you are from Niger. Which part of Niger?
I'm from a village. It's not a village today. It's a town called Kolo, which is about 30 kilometers from Niamey, the capital city.
Okay, what language do they speak in Kolo?
They speak Zarma. Zabarma, like Ghanaians call it Zabarma. And Niger got many languages. Hausa is one of them. Zabarma is the second largest language. And then we got Fulanis, we got Arabs, we got Gourmanches, we got Tubus and Beriberi. I might probably forgot some of them, but we got many different tribes.
Okay, that's interesting. So the coup, is it a good coup or is it a bad coup?
It's a very good coup for many reasons. We know that the regime which was overthrown recently on the 26th, 3 weeks ago, on the 26th of July, they've been in power. This particular president has been in power for 2 years. But before him, the previous president, who is Muhammad Yusufu, has been in power. They're from the same political party, and he's been in power for 10 years. And then after he was, they participated in elections, and they brought this guy over, Bazoum. First, Bazoum, we should let people know, let Ghanaian people know, and the whole world know that he's contested as not being a Nigerian of origin. He wasn't born in Niger.
That's interesting.
Yes, he wasn't born in
Niger.
Hold
on, did he win a clean, clear election?
No, he did not win a clean, clear elections. Election has been contested, and matter of fact, after the elections, the former president, Mahamadou Usman, who was running against him, was supposed to be the winner. And he took, being a patriot, he didn't want to call people to go out and protest.
I'll say that again. The incumbent, the president existed,
the previous president,
who ran against Bazoum, was supposed to be the winner of the election.
He was supposed to be the winner of the elections.
You mean the election was rigged?
Yes, it was rigged.
In favor of the opposition
candidate?
In
favor of the opposition, in favor
Why?
of the incumbent. Actually, let's say, let me put it this way. Muhammad Yusufu and Bazoum are from the same party. And Muhammad Yusufu is the one who brought Bazoum, imposed Bazoum upon the Nigerian.
On the party for the election?
On the part of the same political party.
Yes, so so it's like his protege, he brought him.
Yes.
And said, so he was exiting as president.
He was exiting as president.
Then what was Bazoum doing that period, the
Bazoum was Minister of Foreign Affairs.
He was Foreign Affairs Minister.
Yes.
So it's quite well known to the Nigerian people.
Yes, it's quite well known.
Okay, so the president sort of pushed the Foreign Affairs Minister to be the new candidate.
The new candidate.
And they won the election or they didn't win?
They did not win elections.
Who won?
Muhammad Usman.
Who was the opposition candidate?
Yes.
He won the election?
He won the elections.
As far as your reckoning
As far as my reckoning is concerned. And he took his case to the ECOWAS court in Nigeria. And they dragged it for like 2 years. Only to come back after 2 years and said, oh, we're not competent in this matter. They dragged it for 2 years.
They lack jurisdiction,
yes,
that's what they meant.
They lack jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So then Bazoum became president of Niger, and a lot of people didn't like him because there's an article in the Niger Constitution, Article 47, that say if you're now born in Niger and you become naturalized Nigerian, you could be anything you want, but you cannot be president.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
So you can be foreign minister as he was.
You could be foreign minister.
But if you're not born in Niger,
if you're not born in Niger, you cannot be president. You can hold
and he
any power.
became president.
He became president.
So you are suggesting to our viewers that there was an illegality.
Yes.
That's
Definitely.
interesting.
Yes. And we know how he became president because we know between the first round and the second round, the then president, went to France. And then he called Bazoum over to France. It was probably at that time that everything was settled.
That they decided that Bazoum will go for the presidency.
Bazoum will become president. And something happened. The region that actually let Bazoum won is the former president, his region.
His home region. Is it east or west?
Is in the central of Niger, Tawa. So what happened was they won 900,000 votes, and that was unprecedented. Never before had a region brought 900,000 votes.
Wow.
That was the first time. So
So you think they padded the figure? It was rigged.
They padded the figures.
Do Nigerians generally feel that the election was not genuine?
A lot of Nigerians felt that it wasn't genuine, and they said it. But what happened is, even though they said Niger is a democracy, if you say something, you get locked up.
Oh, I see.
A lot of people get locked up.
So the first 2 years was harsh.
Very, very harsh. What happened is
people's human rights was abused.
Human rights were abused. Soldiers were killed. Villages were moved from where they used to be for 500, 600 years.
Religion?
Yes. No, villagers.
Villagers were moved?
Yes.
What was their land used for?
The terrorists. I mean, you know, when they had a military intervention in Libya, it unleashed a lot of terrorists on the Sahel region.
So the terrorists were beating up their citizens?
They were like on motorcycles.
And government couldn't protect them?
Could you imagine that people on 100 motorcycles could come and fight against army, and a whole army? And they kill soldiers like they kill flies.
Why are you blaming the government for that?
If a government cannot protect its people, that government is not supposed to be a government. The government has part of it because they failed to provide enough weapon to the soldiers. And matter of fact, the Ministry of Defense, what they call the MDN gates, money allocated to provide weaponry to the soldiers were actually embezzled by the ministers and his cronies. So, and they gave the contract to some people who have no education at all on military, who went on board ammunition that even doesn't explode. So soldiers got killed by the hundreds. Sinago there was a military barrack.
So you think this is a good coup?
It's a very good coup.
You don't like democracy in Niger?
If democracy, my definition of democracy is the government of the people, by the people, for the people. The coup showed that all walks of Niger and all walks of life of Niger people came out celebrating what happened to this particular regime. So if democracy is for the people, the Niger people today are pretty happy about what happened.
But they didn't elect the coup leaders to be their president. They did not elect them.
They did not elect them. But what happened during these 12 years of some people, if I could tell you guys Ghanaians, 10 years ago when I came to Ghana, you don't see Niger children in the street begging. That's a sign of a country being sick.
I'll come back to you on the presence of France in Niger and the ECOWAS matter. But let me get to the expert, Alhassan Bello. What do you make of what he's saying?
Well, it tells you a lot of, it's a lot of revelation, but let's look at it selectively. The displacement of the villages stem from insecurity.
Why don't you come round? I don't think we're doing much on the touch screen today, are we? Do we have something to do? If we do,
yeah, we have something to do.
Yeah, if we do, I'll go back there with you. So come round, let's sit down, let's have this conversation for 5 minutes. You can go behind me, I think it's faster. Yeah. Sorry, we're just realigning. So Hassan Bello will take his seat and then, so now it's easier for the production to put it together. Okay, so you were saying?
Well, like you said, the fall of Gaddafi's regime created a lot of insecurity across board.
Yeah.
But then, let's look at it selectively, okay? The relocation of the villages the displacement didn't just happen in Nigeria alone. It cut across the Sahel. You have displacement in Nigeria. You have displacement in Chad. You have them across board. It's a collective failure of security within West Africa. And then, but if you look at the figures, Nigeria has done relatively better than even Mali and Burkina Faso in Nigeria.
I'd like you to get there, but I'd like you to start from where he started, the election, the credibility, the legitimacy of the president, which is the point he's making. That the election was flawed. That's what they think. We don't know whether it's right or wrong, but do you have any research in that direction? Have you heard about how Nigerians received the election?
Well, what I really saw in my own find was that there was this belief that he was handpicked by Yusufu to rule. So there's always had you always had that challenge.
But that's not illegal.
No, but always
the election being flawed is illegal.
So people felt that since he's handpicked, probably the election was rigged in his favor. But the most important is that people felt that he was handpicked deliberately for Yusufu to control, to control him behind the scene. And the fact that he's from the minority ethnic group in Niger, without a political base, it kind of makes the president very powerful. But for the MDN, the corruption case he was talking about, some of the current military men in power were also implicated.
In the same corruption case? The one that the money was given to them to buy weapons and they squandered it?
Because when Bazoum came to power, he inherited a lot of guys from Yusufu. And one of them was Salif Modi, who was a former chief of army staff, and was actually sent to UAE as an ambassador. And his replacement, General Abudu Isaka, Sidiku Isaka, was brought back. So if you are trying to blame Bazoum for corruption alone, then some of the military henchmen today in power are equally implicated. But there are those who believe the coup itself has there's a participation of the former president. He brought Bazoum in to be able to control behind the scene. But then Bazoum himself also came and was trying to create his own political base within the PNDS Taraya, that is the ruling party. So people felt that it is that power struggle between Bazoum and his former mentor, that might have ruffled feathers, and then the military coup was initiated.
What do you make of that?
Well, like he said, some of the soldiers were involved in the embezzlement of the country. I don't think it's correct, because the person who took power, the general who took power, was actually the commander of the Presidential Guard. And he'd been with them for the 12 years that they were in power. And he took over. At that time, what happened is Niger has been divided along ethnic groups, along regions. And this particular guy who took over, the general who took over, came in because of what was going on. Bazoum was releasing terrorists who were arrested on a battlefield.
He was releasing
terrorists? He released them.
From where?
He released them from prison.
Oh,
these guys were arrested.
Okay,
These guys were arrested on the battlefield. Bazoum, they were locked up, and Bazoum released them and received them at the palace.
Oh, really?
Yes. That was
he received the rebels, former rebels.
He released them from prisons, former rebels, from terrorists who killed Niger people.
He received them in the palace?
He released them from prison and received them at the palace.
Why did he do that?
That's the question. Why did you do that? Why do you do that? So that was the first case. The second case was he was trying to do the same thing again. And then General Chani, who's ruling right now, said, Mr. President, the first batch of people you let go, they didn't bring us any good. Matter of fact, they arrested some Niger soldiers, videotaped them, and they shot them. Videotaped them and shot them. And he said, don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Why did they kill them? What's the point?
The terrorists, they just, I don't know why they're killing people. We have no reason, we have no idea who these people are, why they keep going on.
But has it, since the coup of a month ago or a month and a half, has that stopped?
Well, we don't have the information that it wouldn't stop like that. It wouldn't stop overnight.
But are the soldiers capable of stopping it?
The soldiers are fighting. They're fighting every day with the minimum means that they have. The minimum means that they have. See, the problem, like my brother said here, is not alone in Niger alone. It was in Mali, and Burkina Faso, and Niger. What they call the
tribal region.
The tribal region. Okay, but Mali and Burkina Faso, for the same reasons, did a coup, and they're getting better. They're getting better. They're fighting better. They get more weapons than Niger. Actually, Burkina Faso and Mali, when they fight, they chase these people. They come to Niger to seek shelter, and because in Niger we don't have enough coverage. We don't have enough weapons. We don't have enough cover. We don't have drones to look at what's going on.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Praise God. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on.